What once was a rubber, now it's plastic. And the plastic, now it's rubber. Before and after. Welcome back to another everyday value mechanic video. In this episode we are looking on 2010 Audi A5 with the 2-liter TFSI engine. The engine code for this car is CDNB. That's Charlie Delta November Bravo. The car has multiple issues, but the main problem that the customer wanted to address is that the engine is running like a bag of turds. And that's what I will be focusing on. After that, it is up to customer whether they want to fix the other problems. We are suspecting that the issue is related to timing chains. The engine is misfiring, and if you listen closely you can hear the chain rattle. The fault code shows multiple cylinder misfire and the camshaft position correlation errors. Basically the camshaft and the crankshaft aren't in sync. Now, fair warning, this is a long video. It took a while to edit and I didn't want to split it into two parts. I know how frustrating it is when the part 1 goes up and the part 2 never does, leaving everyone hanging with more questions than answers. So I kept it all in one video. Feel free to skip ahead to the parts that are most relevant to you or watch the whole thing. Either way, I really appreciate your time. Alright, with that out of the way, let's dive in and see what we are against. So here we can see there's multiple oil leaks, starting from rocker cover, from chain cover, and possibly also the coils inside is leaking, where the ignition coil sits, and also the oil at the back of the engine that drops on the exhaust and creates smoke. At some point I was checking it and the oil was shooting out from the chain cover, literally with the droplets spraying all over the engine. So that's definitely, there is a problem with the gasket. So I start by setting car up in the ramp and taking the wheels off. Next, the inner wheel arch on both sides. There are multiple Torx T25 bolts.
So now we need to take these clips. There's one here and one here. And to do that, you just lift this side up and push it forward, basically. Slide it so it just, we see here, it just slides in. When you put it on, you slide it. So another one at the top. One last clip here, this one. So just a push clip.
Now when all the bolts and nuts are removed, screws, we can fold this inner wheel arch lining out of the way. I missed one clip here. Sometimes when there's like a lot of dirt and grime, you can't really see if there's any more clips or anything. So if it doesn't come easily off, make sure you double check it. You have removed every single piece, clips and screws and everything else. This is like a carpet inner wheel arch liner rather than plastic, so you can easily fold it and put it inside, or other way you can just unscrew both sides and take it out completely. Maybe you'll save yourself this dust rain. Same thing you repeat on the other side. Pretty much copy paste, everything is identical. This car been sitting for a while with us, as we did not know what we're gonna do with it. That's why the discs are with the surface rust. It's been probably a month till I had a chance to look at it.
Almost forgot my safety glasses.
So we need to remove this under tray off, and there's on this car is multiple under trays, and they all holding on different type of bolts and screws, and most of them are rusted, misplaced. So I even can't list everything what it is. Typically on Audis you're gonna get like a Phillips screwdriver, you have to twist it and it comes out, and then also Torx T20 bolt. Now we need to drain the coolant out. I open this tap and put the hose to direct the coolant rather than spraying all over the place. Here you can see it's open, but it doesn't leak because the expansion tank cap is still on. I'm gonna open it, and here we can see the coolant start flowing. So we'll leave that to drain.
Beside the wiring looms and the bulbs and the this car don't have sensors, but some of the cars gonna have sensors. And there's 4 bolts we have to remove. There's 2 underneath here, 1 here and 1 here. So 2 bolts and nuts and 2 bolts here, and all 4 of them are 10 millimeters. So I'm gonna proceed to open this and then this. Just loosen up so the bumper interior come out like so. Is it visible? Yeah, like so.
Same thing we repeat again on the other side. Water stop flowing out. We can close this tap.
Because I can give you the part number. I've got the part number.
Now we need to remove this.
Now this upper cover. Again, there's bolts missing and misplaced. So my understanding, this car had a crash. So typically after the crash, if it's not genuine people who put it together, typically it's like budged up. But it's meant to slide underneath, hold the front in, and then there's 4 bolts that are meant to hold that cover in place. But nevertheless, typically if you have brand new car, you're gonna have pretty much same procedure. Now we're gonna take this intake cowls off, put them aside. And there's 2 screws again. One is broken, but I will remove it anyway. On the other side.
Another 2 bolts.
Then there's another long screws that we can remove to help us to remove bumper more easily. Typically it should slide out. Sometimes if they haven't been moved for a long time, they can be quite stiff. You could spray some maintenance spray and it should be more easy to slide it out. Now, theory, the bumper should come off. Now we can remove the fog lights. And also, if you have parking sensors, there will be wiring loom to disconnect the front parking sensors. This same procedure is going to be for Audi A4s, A5s, A6, A7s. Not sure about Audi A8. Never seen them in 2-liter TFSI engines. But I would assume the Audis is gonna be all same. So once both fog lights are disconnected, we can put the bumper on the side. Now we can move to the headlights. There's multiple Torx T30 bolts all around it. Just pay attention where you remove each bolt, as you can easily mix them up, take photos and everything. That's gonna help you later to put it all back together. There's 1 long screw at the back. You don't need to remove it completely, you can just loosen up and the headlight should slide out. Once all the bolts are removed, we can try now to slide the headlight out. And let's not forget the wiring loom for the bulbs themselves. So you slide it out, then twist it, and the headlight should come out. Here we can see these 2 slide pins. One goes here, another one goes there. And it should slide onto those sliders. Here we can see the professional repair done by the previous people. So when you see jobs like this, you know you're not gonna have easy life on this car. I understand all kind of repairs, but to put silicone to hold the headlight, that is first for me. When everything is disconnected, wiring loom disconnected, this headlight also can come out. Here I can see close up look on the siliconator job. Now we need to disconnect the wiring loom from these front gadgets. So that's gonna be horns, the crash sensors, and other wirings.
Crash bar.
There's two 13mm bolts for the crash bar and the bracket at the top.
There's the bracket at the top.
We can put them back inside so we know where these bolts coming from. Although there's only one type of these bolts, so it's pretty hard to get confused where they're supposed to go. And there's the headlight screen wash hose that goes across. Now you can use the rubber hammer to knock the crash bar out. It's quite stiff inside there. Then there's also the temperature sensor underneath on some cars. I did not film to disconnect, but so the hose goes at the top of the crash bar and then the temperature sensor goes at the bottom. Now the condenser pressure sensor you can remove also. Basically whole wiring has to come aside as the whole front end needs to come off.
So they're meant to be 3 bolts. One meant to be right here. So one meant to be here, and then 2 we got underneath, and then one 10mm nut inside there. And then we can see here one is missing already.
So I removed the 2 bottom ones, they're 16mm.
That's one bolt. That's the second bolt removed. Okay.
Also, to help to remove that bracket, we need to remove the bracket for the headlight. For that we need to push this headlight's pressure jet. There's 2 push clips, you push them on the side and then push the whole spray jet inside. It comes loose. There's no screws, just the push clips. And also the push clip for the bracket. So once these are removed, and there's a crash sensor. So when you deal with these crash sensors, remember to disconnect the battery if you're working, obviously, because they can trigger the signal and the airbags can shoot out. So this is the 10mm nut for the crash bar.
This is 10mm nut. This thing can come off. Now we need to remove this plug here, and to do that you have to press here and it comes out, and then there's another one here behind this pipe, and that's it. Comes out, and that's removed.
Same thing we can repeat on the other side. Take this spray jet out, disconnect the crash sensor. The thing is off, and here I'm going to use the electric tools to speed up the process for these 2 316mm bolts. the 110mm nut. The bracket can come off. 2 clips. The whole thing slides out. Now I'm gonna, this all hose with the injector, I'm gonna fold it on top of the engine so it was out of the way.
Now I can take the intercooler off. There's the Jubilee clips on each side, 7mm.
Seems like the front bumper was sprayed and not covered properly. Some spray paint got into these pipes and the bolts brackets, so everything's quite stiff and hard to remove. That's one side removed. Now I have to repeat the same thing on the other side. Loosen the clamp. I use the pick to break the hose from the plastic intercooler. Once that's been done, you can disconnect the air pipe off. Then there's a 1 Torx T25 screw that holds intercooler in place. Then from there's just clips, push clips. You have to press them together and the whole thing comes off. One side removed. The other side had that Torx 25 bolt.
So it has these hooks, and the hooks inside here. So when you put it just hooks like that. Here you can see
Where's the third bolt from the bracket that was missing? So they dropped it, they probably couldn't find it and they thought, you know what, let's leave with 2 bolts. But there it is.
and that is the bolt.
I will remove that later once I remove the radiator, everything. Should give me more space to hook it out.
For this
That's come from there.
spin upwards.
Now the coolant pipes we can remove.
Like so.
So this is the return hose.
Which typically is more difficult than the smaller one. So you have to lift this clip upwards and then try to wiggle it to get it off. But if it's never been removed, then it will take us a very long time to do it. So take your time, patience, and wiggle it. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Typically they're quite stiff and you have to work it. Take your time, try not to snap anything. Spray some grease sprays or something that's gonna help you to slide it off. And me working hard, getting punished.
Ow.
Then there's the wiring loom for the bonnet latch. We have to disconnect it, and the cable for the bonnet latch we have to disconnect it. I did not have a good angle to film it how to disconnect it, but you fold the one cover upwards. It's with the just like clips. You can use the pick to open it, and then once you open it, you're gonna be able to see how to disconnect the bonnet cable. Pretty much straightforward. You twist it and you lift it up. I also disconnect this bracket underneath it. Just now fell down. That's led me to pull the cable backwards, lift it out from the bonnet latch side cable. And this is the bracket. Now I can disconnect the bottom coolant pipe from the radiator. There's always still gonna be some coolant left, so make sure you got something underneath and don't make the same mistakes that I did.
So typically here would be another bolt that we would need to unscrew so we can slide this whole unit, like radiator and fan unit out. But on both sides these screws are missing. There also a way, if this sometimes is like tricky to get it out, you can unscrew this 13mm and take the whole thing off. So I'll leave it as it is, I'll try to slide it out and see how it goes from there. Now we need to disconnect the fan wiring loom. That's it. So last thing what's left to take off is the AC pipes, but to do that we need to make sure there's no gas inside. In this garage I don't have a AC gas machine, so the way to check it one way is you unscrew this one of the pipes and you press it. There is some gas inside but nothing, so you press it and that's it, there's nothing left there. There's no gas inside. If there is a gas, then one way before you start the job, you take it to another garage who has the gas machine and ask them to pull it out and drain the system. And this is again Torx T30. Okay. And they are Torx T30. And at the moment, once you unscrew this, there's nothing else gonna hold the whole thing. So be ready to catch it.
Waters are moving as well.
The bottom part doesn't come off, so I will remove those two 13 bolts. That's the bracket off.
How are you getting on with hammock? Shit.
The bracket off? Yeah.
It's a bitch, yeah?
No, it's okay.
Now once the radiator assembly is off, we got plenty space to work on. So the next I will remove this auxiliary belt For that I'm using 16mm socket. You can use a spanner to lose the tension, and you can take the auxiliary belt off. Also this guide pulley, that is the Torx T40. Now I'm just gonna do some cleaning to save some later headaches by having all this grease going inside into the sump, and also let me see better what I'm dealing with and what I'm working. And also on this situation, I really don't like to work on the cars that has so much grease on it, as everything you touch you just make a mess. You make your tools more slippery, you make new parts dirty, and all other things that comes with it. So this is a good time now to clean it, and for that I am using the TFR, which is traffic film removal spray. So that's loosen all the grease, and I'm using just a detailing brush to agitate it and to get it off. And last thing, to get all this oily stuff off, I'm just using the brake cleaner to rinse it off. So that's when that's gonna dry. It's gonna be nice, clean and dry area to work on. So now before and after, much better place to work on. Next I proceed to remove most of the items here. So there's the oil pressure switch, sensor and wiring loom, the camshaft actuator magnet, wiring, and this one coolant pipe. It's quite sticky, it has melted itself to that pipe, so I spray a little bit WD-40 to help me to loosen it up. Video editing magic, it looks so easy, but actually that pipe took me quite a long time to get it off and to break it. Now there's another oil pressure switch. There's two of these engines. Now this wiring loom, we can take it off. That's gonna give us access to this coolant pipe.
There's the T25. So now I can put this aside. Let's leave it there for the time being. Now this is something working. I'm gonna fold it this side. Now I can try to take this lipstick out. Lipstick guide. So there's three T30 bolts, so one we removed when we took the lipstick guide off, and now there's two more T30 bolts left here. So we're gonna crack that. you can see. So now we can remove these bolts around this upper chain cover. They are 10 mil, all of them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. That's the cover off. And this was quite bad. So this is like plastic. How bad is this? It's not even rubber anymore, that's pure plastic. Crumbles away. So this is the tool I'm gonna be using to time it up. It's not a complete, it's not the best one there is, but this is the one that I have. It is for 2-liter TFSI chain engines, and the tools, the items that I will use for this is gonna be this to open the inlet camshaft bolt at the front, and these two to lock the both camshafts. If anybody needs, this is the tool, you can pause it. The code for that is 5981. So we need to open these T30, and then one bolt, this one here, M10. So that's one off. Now this T30. So that's 60-30 bolts off. Now what's left is the inlet bolt, and this one spins, so it has a left hand thread. So basically to open you have to spin clockwise, and to close it anti-clockwise. And if we can see these two notches there, they've been damaged. So somebody already maybe opened it once at some point. But yeah, so there's like an offset of them, so they're not in the middle. So one side is right in the middle, but the other side is not in the middle. And this, if we can see, is also offset, so we have to use the offset side to put it in. This doesn't go in. Slightly tap it. So we can put the just 3/8 in and spin it clockwise. And that's it. Now it's open. So a little bit oil came out. Now we can take all this, in theory, off. Slightly seized. So basically, you're meant to check. There's like a screen, like a filter. Apparently you don't need it. And if it's broken, and I can see it here, I can't see it, so it must be broken, you can remove it. The newer shapes comes already without it, without the filter here. And here I can see it just fell inside there, so I'm just gonna put this on the side. Try to use the magnet. And here we can see that screen, that metal piece. Apparently if you go somewhere you can clog either of these oil holes here, or you also can go inside the cams and block one of the oil galleries, and then you're gonna have oil starvation and all other kind of stuff. So yeah, if you do the same job, take this small piece, check it if it's not broken, and take it out. So now we can time it up. And to time this engine, there's no locking tool to lock the crankshaft. You can lock the pulley for removal of the bolt. I don't have that tool. But basically the markings, there's a arrow here, like a triangle here, and then the notch here cut on this pulley. So I'm gonna put here marking white and white here. So that is your notch, and then there's a triangle here. I'm gonna put it there, and that is our marking for crankshaft. Ooh, it's leaking oil a lot. Here's gonna be your top dead center. So the crankshaft is on the top dead center, basically where it's supposed to be, but the bolt cams are on the bottom. So I'm gonna turn the crankshaft one more revolution, 360 degrees, and so these markings here, so this notch here, and then here you can see this marking here should be at the top, and this notch also should be at the top, and then we will proceed to see how far we are from the timing side. And as you turn the engine, the oil is leaking out, so yeah, get something underneath it already. A little bit more, right about here. So this, now the bolt notches, or this notch there is at the top where we want it to be. Like, I don't know if it's timed up because there's no marking to compare. And then this notch is also on the top. So now we can measure it with the vernier caliper to see how far off, if we are off. Maybe it's bang on. So the markings are at the top. Here we can see one here and one here. And to know when it's timed up, from this notch to the inside here, hopefully to time it up, the cams, there's 61 to 64 millimeters should be from this cutout here, the outside wall, this side, to this notch here should be 61 to 64 millimeters. So, and if I take vernier caliper and I measure it, like let's say in the middle, and here we can see we got 62 millimeters. So my digitals doesn't work, so there's battery missing. So 61 minimum and maximum 62. So yeah, so that's from here to here is correct. Then from this notch on the exhaust cam sprocket to this notch here should be from 124 to 126 millimeters. So you can measure it. So that's in, and that is here. So here we can see that's 125 millimeters, and that is within the spec. So we can now lock the cams and then take the bottom pulley off and bottom cover off. So to lock the cams, I'm using these two tools. It comes within the set, so we put it here inside and screw it. So this slightly, I can't move them, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use the 19mm, I think. So this is in, and now I have to move this one slightly. So the crankshaft is at the top dead center, so it's marked, but I can't put these pins inside because I think the chain is stretched and the pins are out. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna remove the crankshaft, then cover, I'm gonna turn the chain off and then lock these cams. So as I don't have a tool to fit it here to hold it in place, so prevent from spinning, I'm just gonna use the gun and hold by hand, and hopefully it's gonna come loose if it's not super tight. So it's still timed up here. As you can see, I can take this off. There meant to be O-ring seal here, remember, as well. And that's off. So here we can see there's like a cutout or a notch that meant to align with the crankshaft here. So once we put it on, so no, and it slides in. So no, here. I'm just gonna tie this and I'm gonna turn it clockwise. So meant to be here. And so, and this time it should come up easy. So there. So now I know that this is timed up and I can take this cover off. What I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna put some nut at the back here, just in case I need to move it or do something there. So now we can proceed and take all these bolts off. They are all T30. This one. Now I can try to take this cover off. By the looks of it, there's quite a lot of silicone. Maybe. Sometimes these pins on the side, they're metal, and it's hard to get them off. Well, lucky for me, this was not the case. So yeah, probably best option was to drain oil before you do this job. So guys, the cover is off. I drained the oil out. And here we can see that this is okay, this chain. This chain, main one, also doesn't look very bad. It's quite a lot of out, but it's not bad. Oh, I broke my glove. But if we come here and we look at this, down here, what's this all about? And here as well. What do you guys think? This was what causing it to run like a bag of shit? Or is it was the main one that was causing it? Leave the comments below. So we're gonna start by taking off the oil pump chain, and to do that you just have to unhook this spring from this location, and to do that you just press it and pull it towards yourself, and that's the tension off. And then it's again T30. And that's it. That's our oil pump tensioner off. And in theory, this should come off pretty easy. Now I have to screw. And there's no timing on the oil pump or anything like that, so I don't need to worry much about that. I'm just gonna put this one back inside. I can't put that back inside anymore. Oh, bollocks. I don't think that's gonna be a big problem. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take this guide off and go from there. So typical to me, I forgot to press play, but basically I took this guide out from here. It was up here, like so, and with these two bolts. Still, this is M10 bolts, both of them. So I took these two bolts out, and now this guide can come out. So this guide is out. Now I'll take the tensioner. So that's again M10, and the tensioner is T30. One of the cams jumped. Okay, and here you can see it's all the way out. If it wouldn't be like halfway, it would like come out as I removed it. But basically, this tensioner is on its maximum. Now I can take this guide off. This tensioner guide. Now we can take this chain off here, like so. I can't put this back inside there. So this is in. This is the chain. Okay. Take the chain off first. So that's a chain off. You just put it here, and then it should slide off. And it broke. Oh, we got new one. So basically that's our guide, and it just slides on and it hooks on this clip here behind. There's like a groove and it just hooks there. So now I got the 19mm spanner, and if I put inside here I can move it like if I need to, like any direction. Not much, but whatever we need. And so I have to make sure it's between 61 to 64 millimeters in here. So I have to move it. So this is 64 mil. Now I can slide the tensioner in. So and now if we look here, this is 64 mil. So that is what they're saying on the manuals. Between this notch and this marking here should be between 124 to 126. And we have 130, so I have to move this one counterclockwise. What we can do, we can screw this bolt back inside. So now we can move, so we get to our 124 to 126. So I'm gonna put the caliper to 123, and as soon as it's gonna be moved, I'm gonna push it in. So meant to be here. There. Now both columns are locked and they are in their position. And if we check it here, so this is 122. Oh, we need 124 minutes. So I have to take one notch back. There. Let's check now. It's there. And there. So this is 126. What they specified that it has to be within the spec. So guys, the last thing that's left to remove is the, I believe they call balancer shafts. This chain here that has this big slack. I don't know how's that happened, but yeah, so we're gonna remove that, and then the tensioner. So this chain, the balancer chain, balancer, and the tensioner. So these all are M10 bolts. And that's two. That's the second one, and this is the tensioner one. Seems like this tensioner also doesn't do anything. So, and the tensioner, this big, is 27 mil. So 27. Also, this is stuck. Doesn't do anything. Now what's left is to take this chain off. And that's our last chain off. These two balancer shafts. So on the left one is straightforward. So here's a notch. This one, as it says there, basically meant to facing this bolt here. So this notch here facing this bolt. Somewhere here, like so. Then the right one, there's a dot here. Where's that yellow teeth? Not this big stripe, but this smaller one. And it should be another two dots on the bottom sprocket, this one. And they should align. 1 second. I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to see here. So basically, I meant to be here. So we see this dot here, and then it should be in between those other two dots. And sometimes you can go a couple of revolutions till the upper balancer shaft sprocket with this chain sprocket gonna align with the bottom. So, and for them to align, you just turn it. No. Nope. 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 And here. It's very hard to see. So, and when those two dots and the other dot is in there, so that means that's correct position. And then this dot is going to be again facing this bolt inside here. So, is that oil filter? Yeah. This is take it. The part number. This is a part number for. So let's see. Here's one guy. So here we see it is a cutout flat one, and it should align with this part here, and it should be on 12 o'clock, and it is 12 o'clock, but the engine is tilted, so if we switch the engine straight, that also would be straight.
Oh, you think it's wrong, man? It's a paper one. It's wrong way to put it.
So on the smaller chain, the gap between these marked is 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And same thing is going to be here as well, 15. And so here we can see this guide here. So I put it this one here. And then this should be here, like so. And then the last one at the bottom is also aligned. I'm just gonna make a. So here you can see that's aligned with the arrow. This dot is with this one, and then there's underneath the dot. You can see with that marking. There was two choices of these guides, and obviously the best thing always is to compare with the old one. And here we can see on my occasion it was the smaller one, and it sits like this. So this cutout, or this one here, it sits at the back, so it sits like this. Next is this side guide, and it has like a small cutout here, so it goes this way. Basically you can't put this way, or you can maybe try to put this way, but it wouldn't fit. So in other words, just one way how it fits. So this is the tensioner, and it slides inside here. But before we can put the tensioner on, we have this guide for tensioner, and the guide goes right here, like so. And here's the bolt, like this. Now I can screw remove this inside. This tensioner is also oil pressure controlled. So once the pressure comes, it tensions the chain. This is 27 mil. All of these guide bolts, including the tensioner, is 20 Newton meters of torque. So I'll show you this here. So 20 there. I'm just going to mark it so I know that these bolts I have tensioned, torqued. So these markings here should align with this notch here. This paint, it's not a notch, it's actually just a painted there or engraved with laser. And here's a notch. And so these markings on this chain should align with this engraving here and this notch here. So basically it keeps coming up, so if I turn it, you can see here it comes on, but it keeps jumping. So here's the small pin, it should go there inside, and it clicks in like so.
So basically, either I'm doing something wrong or not the way I'm supposed to do it, but I could not get the chain on its position prior installing all the guides for the chain. So I've decided to install the guides and then put the chain in its position.
So this guide also goes only one way, and then so instead, rather than this, it's going to be this way, where this opening here is going up on top.
Here we can also see I have removed one of the locking pins, locking tool out. This one on the exhaust camshaft.
No.
And I removed it because I could not install the new guide inside. So I'm gonna put the guide first, then I'm gonna lock the arm itself.
So I couldn't put this guide in because one of the tubes jump at the bottom, and now when it's straightened up I can put this last bolt inside. Like this. Now I can put the last tensioner in. Oh, not the last, I mean the main tensioner. I'm just gonna tension off so I can take.
At this stage we can remove the both locking tools from the camshaft sprockets, as the chain is on and it's not going to go anywhere anymore.
Once those are removed, we can now release, just make sure that this is tight, and release this bomb, like so. You set this all the way back, this spring. Turn the engine twice, 300 degrees, 360 degrees twice, to see if it's time enough. So before we do that, I'm just gonna mark it for me to easier to see. So this white dot meant to be here, that's gonna be our top dead center, because we know this is timed up, like this is on 12 o'clock. And we turn it clockwise twice. This two. Like so, and now we can measure again these points here. 61 to 64 mil. And that 62 mil there. That's 60 and 2 more. And then here we meant to have 124 to 126 from this notch to this one. There, 126. And now we know that this chain is timed up. Hello. Yeah, 1 second, Jamie. I'm here in the middle of something.
Oh. Well, that's a big job.
There's chains on this bloody thing. Don't move. Don't move.
So now the last thing what's left is to put the oil pump chain tensioner in. It's 9 Newton meters of torque, and that's a Torx T30. So once that torque, now you just use your fingers and just put the spring behind that clip where it locks in, and that's your oil pump tensioner install. So next I like to, so other people, I've seen other mechanics kind of soak the oil, the chain into the oil prior installing. But because I don't like to work with the greased up chain, so I just install it while it's dry and then just spray it with the oil.
So this is the bottom cover. There's no gasket, so silicone around it. And this is the part number for it. 06H109210 I don't know if you guys can see it. So that's the cover. Some oil here. And so we're just gonna put the silicone all around it. Yeah, and show it on.
So here you can see I applied the, I would say, a little bit too much generous amount of the silicone, but only because I don't want to come back again here just in case I missed some spot or it's not enough silicone there to seal it properly, this cover. So once the silicone is on, you locate it in its position. There's two locking pins on each side of this cover, and install these bolts all around the cover.
Then we put this one. There's also a slot we can see here. So one of the teeth are slightly different than the all other ones, so cut out, and that should lock. Right. So what you're gonna put inside is gonna come inside itself. Remember, they're meant to be O-ring sealed there. So crankshaft pulley is 150 Newton meters plus 90 degrees. If you have something to lock, if you have tool to lock it. So I just use the impact gun. Now I can put this one.
So the tire puncture repair is going to do in a hurry, yeah?
Remember guys, this is a left hand tread, so to tighten it we have to turn it clockwise. So this inlet cam is 35 Newton meters of torque. And 39. It's showing negative because it's left hand tread, so I'm going the other way. Then the exhaust side, this bolt is 20 Newton meters plus 90 degrees. So first we're doing 20. The second step for that is 90 degrees.
Sure, level this one last week.
Also 43 Newton meters total. So there's no spec for these bolts, so I'm just gonna tie them. So and this is brand new upper cover, and this is the part number. So what's that? Here 06. Well, probably that's 06H103269H. For the comparison, these are two plates, so this is old one, this is new one. And here we can see how does these this seal should be, nice and flexy. But if we look on this one, so now we're ready to put this cover back on, and what I noticed here, it was another part number for just for the gasket, and the part number is 06H 103483 Charlie. So that's 06H for hotel, 103483 C for Charlie. Now we can shoot this bad boy on here. There's no spec for these bolts, so I really don't know, just good and tight I assume. Now I can put back now this actuator. So I'm not gonna tighten these bolts just yet, as I want a third one and spread it equally tight. So, and for that we need to two things. So first of all, need dipstick. So I got the dipstick guide. There's no actually dipstick inside here. It's just blank. These cars has electronic oil level measuring. But nonetheless, if somebody ever wanted, they can do that. And it sits like this, like so. That's another one, but before we do that, we need to okay this one. In here. Now I can secure this nicely here through the bottom. Yeah, let's go to the bottom there. That's on, that's on.
This stage is also a good time to change the oil filter. But is it always recommended when you change the chains on any cars, you put the new oil and new oil filter. You don't want to damage the new chain with any old chain debris or metal bits, particles, whatever gets inside there. So just pre-fill new oil filter with a little bit of oil. And this is supposed to be the hand tight. Now we can put on the auxiliary belt back on. Let's not forget the sump plug back on. the radiator assembly. From this stage onward, basically it's just vice versa, the way we remove it, just to put everything back together. You locate, and then I'll just put these two upper bolts in, just to hold it in place. I don't tie them, as we need to adjust a little bit. Once these two small Torx T30 bolts are in, we can proceed to connect other parts, and the whole assembly is not going to go anywhere. Put these bottom brackets in, 13mm nuts on each side. And I found the new bolts for the bottom part. They are 13mm. I connected back the bonnet cable, AC pipes, both AC pipes are secure in with the Torx T30 bolt. Next we can put the intercooler back inside. Hooks on the bottom part, then on the left side it clips in, and on the right side you have one screw.
Yeah, it's working, but why it doesn't spray enough? Like,
Screw, Torx T25, and now this air guide cowls slide in on the bottom of the intercooler, and then two clips on the radiator brackets. So now the crush bar mount. Typically what I do, I lift it up a bit and put one 16mm bolt. Then you can put the all other ones, and also the 10mm nut that just holds it in place. And I pull out that one missing bolt as well, and I'll secure that 16mm as well. So now there is 3 bolts as it's supposed to be. And the 10mm nut. Same thing we repeat on the other side. Again, lift it up a bit as the whole radiator assembly just hangs down, and then if you not lift it up and you leave it like hanging down, then later when you try to arrange the bumper lining or everything else, it's more harder to do so. Now we connect the intercooler pipes on both sides. And the in goes headlamp bracket.
what's wrong with that?
Torx T20 to secure it in its place. 2 of them. Now we can arrange the headlamp spray jets. The rest of the wiring as well. This is AC pressure for the pressure sensor wiring. Now the other side, the headlamp bracket goes inside. I use some chemical plastic to put it together so it holds a little bit better, as when I removed it, it almost crumbled into pieces in my hands. This side had some impact at some point.
You want me to leave in peace? You want me to go?
Yeah, you can go.
That's nice, man. If you complete.
Secure all the hoses and wirings where it's supposed to go. Always recommend prior you take anything apart, take photos as much as you can, so you always have reference to come back and check it how it was before. Headlamp spray jets can go inside. So you secure them, they just clip inside, there's no bolts. Crash sensor. Now the crash bar itself. I'm aligning the holes for the bolts to go straight through. The bolt goes from the bottom upwards, and then at the top there's a bracket. That's the bracket. Same thing you repeat on the other side. Secure bolt, 13mm bolts. Now arrange the wiring where it's supposed to go. Sensors, the horns, the outside temperature sensor. Now we can connect the radiator hoses, and for that I use multi-purpose grease so it slides better in, and maybe for the next person to remove it was a little bit less easier to do so. And the return pipe from the radiator to the expansion tank. And the headlamps can go inside now. Connect the headlamp wiring loom to the headlamp and slide it in.
Hi.
For a while. Look at the discs.
Yeah. It's a chain.
And repeat the same thing on the other side. secure all the bolts for it. Now we can connect the bottom radiator hose. Also, I use multi-purpose grease. Make sure it's snug and secure. And final big piece is the bumper itself. Next, there's a two 10mm bolts that goes from inside to secure the bumper in place. And two 10mm nuts from the bottom. Try tightening these bolts, these nuts strong. Make sure that the bumper is flush with the wing, as these gonna hold them together. Now the fog light can go inside. Also, if your car has a parking sensors, make sure you connect parking sensors prior you putting the bumper in its place. Inner wheel arch liner, and same thing we repeat on the other side. Wheel arch liner and the tires, I mean wheels. There's a couple bolts that I removed for the bumper. You can put them also inside. Same thing on the other side, although here a couple brackets are broken. I'll put all the bolts back inside nonetheless. Now this intake cowl and the airbox cowl. The bumper upper cover can go inside, and there's a 4 Torx T20 bolts that secures it in place and prevents it from moving it. A couple bolts was missing, so we replaced it with the 8mm bolt. Now the coolant can go inside. We wait till the coolant goes down. There's no bleed nipple for this engine, so just wait. The air will escape itself out. While the coolant is bleeding itself, it's a good time now to put the fresh oil inside. The oil capacity for this engine is 4.6 liters. Here we can see the coolant went down, we can top it up again. Now the battery was dead. The car's been well, maybe a couple of months and the battery itself is not very strong, so it's just not gonna start by itself anymore.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
So hi guys, an update on this Audi that after chain replacement is still running very bad. It has a fault code P0016 and multiple cylinder misfire. What we did so far, we changed the crankshaft sensor because that's the original fault for this engine. It's just saying crankshaft or camshaft, and we changed both sensors, but there was no luck on that one. We changed the spark plugs, also no luck. We thought it was just one cylinder misfiring. We changed the coil pack. It was also not running very good, so that's done. Then after doing some research, I've noticed that a lot of people having issues with this camshaft oil regulator. With this part here, I could remove it. Unless you remember, it was stuck as well in there when I was doing the job as well. So basically, this is the regulator for that, and then this is a magnet. Still, that looks it's still moving. So this is the magnet that controls it. And also here we have a bridge. And so what we decided next step to do is to change all those three parts. And so here we have a new regulator. Not regulator, I mean new magnet. And then here we have new oil control. I'll always make sure that this in the middle moves. So new this one. And get some O-ring seal there. Have a new bridge, and this one has a new screen. You can see it here compared to the old one. If you remember, the old one collapsed and I pull out just the pieces. So from there, so we're gonna change this, we're gonna change the oil regulator and the magnet that controls it. So I will update you once everything is done.
After replacing camshaft bridge valve magnetic kit, the engine finally started running the way it should. Looking back, I probably should have swapped these parts earlier, especially since they were tough to remove and clearly worn. But at the time my focus was more on the rattling chain, so replacing these didn't even cross my mind. I got the replacement kit from eBay for around £50. While it's not a genuine Audi part, it fit well and does the job just fine. That wraps another episode from Everyday Value Mechanic. Thank you for watching and supporting the channel. It really means a lot. If you would found this video helpful, give it a like. It helps the channel grow and allows me to keep making more content for you. See you in the next one. Your valued mechanic out.